Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me as we look into the 1930s crochet in the United States. Fair warning, the 1930s is called the Great Depression. I'll try my best to keep it upbeat and focus on crochet history in the United States. Thank you for joining me. The 1930s in the United States was dominated by the Great Depression, starting with the Wall Street crash, bringing the fun roaring 20s to a halt. Society was divided, the filthy rich staying wealthy, and the lower middle class became dirt poor, referring to the floors in their poor homes and shacks. Piss poor was when a family would collect their urine and sell it to the local leather tannery company. This period also saw the Dust Bowl. Severe drought ravaged the Great Plains. Despite dire circumstances, women preserved the dignity of the home and the rituals of the family. Cooking wasn't just about nourishment. It was about maintaining a sense of normalcy, pride, and hope. In those steamy kitchens of the 1930s, through the steam and the struggle, they stirred up strength and carried generations forward. If you were lucky, you had a factory job. This worker is shown in a cotton mill in Rhode Island. Cotton was used for many items and became a household staple. Sacks containing flour and grain were made of cloth, mostly cotton. The Kansas Wheat Company realized the poorest families were reusing them to sew dresses. To make them more competitive, they decided to print them on floral and colorful designs. The innovation was a huge success. The logos were printed in washable ink, and some had patterns printed on them to help the designers make the dresses. Can you imagine upcycling a pretty fabric and adding a stylish crochet border? Like Dolly Parton's coat of many colors, any little girl would feel love in every single stitch as she wore her new dress. These next few styles shown in the slides are of the wealthy upper class. Mercerized cotton yarn was popular especially when making lace crochet doilies, appliques, and edging on garments and blankets. Mercerized yarn has been treated with sodium hydroxide to better retain dye colors. This process also helps keep yarn strong under pressure and during the day-to-day wear and tear. In keeping with the thrifty nature of the Great Depression, crocheting with recycled materials also became popular. There were entire pattern books about crocheting using recycled plastic materials like cellophane or rags to make rugs. Take a look at these beautiful examples from the 1930s. Let's take a deeper look into the 1930s culture. I'll flip the camera around and I'll be right back. I would like to share something very, very special with you. My grandma grew up in the 1930s. Her mother taught her a lot of handicrafts. They lived in Missouri, right out of Kansas City, Missouri, and they suffered through the Dust Bowl. My grandma and grandpa ended up getting married and moving to California for better opportunities to come work in the shipyards, building warships. My grandma had a lot of thrifty ways, and one of her thrifty ways was to recycle and use what materials you have to revamp them and keep using them. For as long as I can remember, my grandma saved t-shirts, one of her favorite materials to work with. She would cut down the t-shirts and patch the t-shirts together. She would save denim to embroider on it. My grandma was very, very thrifty. One of the items that I still have that her hands worked on is this rug. It is made out of t-shirts. I have to be careful with it because it is not in the best condition. Ooh, that's the back side of it. When my grandma passed away, this rug was in the driveway under the carport so that my grandpa could lay on it when he changed oil in the cars and not get oil on the driveway. I know, that's ridiculous, but I love it and I remember her working on it and it took her a very long time to make it. I think I had it backward. Took her a very long time to make it because she had to collect all the t-shirts. But now I'm coming to the problem of some of the t-shirt material has fallen apart. Some of it's very, very thin. Some of it I know is worn. I see one long space right around this band that needs repair. And there's a few smaller holes that need repair. Holding to tradition, I should probably cut up some t-shirts, which she did show me how to cut them, to make them. And you start at the bottom hem and you just work around and around in a spiral till you get up to the armpits. To keep with traditional materials, I should probably cut up some t-shirts, and I want to stabilize it. I don't want to lose any more of her handwork. It's a rug. I can use a large hook size and just let it be what it's going to be. But in my travels, I found for one doll hair, product name, t-shirt yarn, material 95% polyester plus 5% spandex. This yarn was made by MS Yarns. There's not much more information on it. It doesn't say where, doesn't say when, none of it. But it's a very pretty t-shirt yarn. It feels secure. So if I'm gonna repair it, I should probably use something similar quality, similar ingredients, but strong, because I do want it to keep lasting. Who knows if my kids will ever be interested in it, but it is an item that I love and cherish. So I have that in debate on if I should cut up a t-shirt and continue my grandma's theme, or if it's okay to use this. I think she would think this was pretty cool and a waste of money. But I have it. It was only $1. My grandma loved the dollar store back when it was just $1. Thank you for participating in this series. It's definitely enjoyable. I have some more fun for you. Hold on just one moment. I'll be right back. Hello. Okay, so the 1930s also saw a widespread popularity of pulp magazines. Magazines printed on cheap paper made of pulp. These magazines provided affordable entertainment. Here is a magazine from May 1937. I found this magazine in a little secondhand shop in LA. I was wandering through a thrift antique shop with Sarah Nickel, and I came across this magazine. And it is very, very delicate. It is not a reprint. It's just a very well taken care of magazine. The magazine is called Home Arts Needlecraft. It originally sold for $10. 10 cents. I'm sorry, 10 cents. Oh my goodness. Today it would probably be $10, right? All that crazy inflation. I have a couple pages marked that I'd like to share with you. Here's some beautiful embroidery. The magazine shares different techniques, tips for moms, tips on how to properly apply face makeup. And then over here on the side, I have it marked. On the side are ads, advertisements. Down here it says yarn, finest quality, wholesale prices. Worsted, boucles, floss, tweeds, velveteens, novelty yarns. Write for free samples. Satisfaction or money back. Sunray Yarns, New York City. How fascinating. I wonder how many times you'd send off and end up not getting a reply. Money was tight. People didn't just do stuff like that all willy-nilly. Knitting wools. Send for 600 samples. Free prompt mail service. Colonial Yarn House, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. How fascinating. Up here, I have some notes that I made on this article. This little ad right here caught my eye. I even put a post-it note on it that says this. All the rage, Lily rug yarn. This popular idea in handmade scatter rugs, easy and quick to make, lovely to look at, colorful, smart. 17 colors in the thick, rich hued yarn to select from. Send postcard for free leaflets showing 7 new rug designs that are both fun and useful to make too. An original gift. Lily. Can you see that logo? Isn't it familiar? I thought it looked very familiar, so I looked it up and I found Lily Sugar and Cream. And I have some notes. Lily brand yarns, cotton, started in Shelby, North Carolina. In 1903, and by the 40s, there were 20 spinning mills in the Shelby area and a line of instructional books. They got so into teaching people about Lily's cotton that they partnered with a Penland School of Crafts that was founded in 1929. And it's known to be the largest and oldest professional craft schools in the United States. They're best known for their pottery and their weaving. I did some research and I found out that Lily brand, their line of sugar and cream, was later acquired by in 1981. It was acquired by Spinrite Yarns, aka Yarnspirations. So this little ad sent me down a rabbit hole of fun. I didn't mind, not at all. So jobs were scarce and women were trying to make the most that they could out of what they had. Here's an ad. It says, women who knit. What about crochet? Turn your spare hours into money. If you have had experience with yarns and are competent to give knitting instructions, we establish you in business. No selling experience or investment required. Write today for free fax. Giving experience with yarns, reference, etc. Address, Department H, Athena Yarns Company, room 10100, Merchandise Mart, Chicago. Well, I thought that was just fascinating. Kind of got to pay for some of these though. So down here it says free Wanoko yarns. Oh, I gotta take the post-it notes off as I go so I remember that I shared it with you. Samples. Write for exclusive style book. 1,000 colors. New fashions for hand knitters. And that one's in New York. Yarns. Newest shades for knitting, crocheting, rug making. Guaranteed quality. Free instructions. Belmont, Department N1, Chicago. They're everywhere. They're just trying to give yarn away. Fascinating, fascinating. Here's a 2-piece hand knit. Very lovely. Hand knits have been accepted with large enthusiasm by the best dressed women. I love it. Here is RIT, Tints and Dyes advertisement. Never say dye in RIT. There's a new discovery in RIT that makes ordinary dyes old-fashioned. Gives you the loveliest colors in the quickest, surest way. Fun, fun. There were a lot of women who needed money. And so a way to bring money into the home was offering a laundry service. Most of these services were offered to the wealthy or factory workers that worked long hours with no labor laws in the 1930s. Ads for soaps and articles about how to clean fabric and keeping your dyes vivid made a huge difference because word of mouth was your advertisement. So here we have a 2-page article. It's called Soap Tonic, and it talks about keeping your colors rich in silks, rayons, cottons, for knits on how to block and keep your knitting in shape, for lingerie, and then turning the page, I got them all marked, for pantyhose and how to repair them, for gloves on how to get the fingertips clean without fading the fingertips compared to the other parts of the hand. Excuse me. They talk about laundering blankets so that they don't go thread thin. And look at this huge section. Yarn, best quality, lowest prices. Yarn, hand knitting, lowest prices. Send for free samples. Yarn, $2.50 for boucle. Ugh, hate that yarn. Would not spend that much on that yarn. Turning back a page, I wanted to show you all of these ads. 1, 2, 3, 4 more ads on free yarn or cheap samples. This one talks about all flake and nub yarns, $4 a pound. Here's a whole nother, oh, we just did that one. Hold on one moment, I'll be right back. Okay, thank you very much for being so patient with me. I had a happy surprise on the last page over in the ads section of this magazine is an advertisement. It says Needlecraft Sewing Cabinet given for 4 subscriptions at 50 cents each. This sewing cabinet is made of wood maple finish. 2 hinged covers, 1 on each side, and a tray inside to hold pins, needles, thimbles, etc. Size 10 inches long by 8 inches wide by 9 1/2 inches high. This is just right size to carry with you from room to room and to set on the floor by you while you sew. Order by name and by gift number 4527. If you remember, just a short while ago, I shared with you a Facebook Marketplace find. I picked up this sewing cabinet for $10, and it was filled full of vintage crochet hooks. In the description, it says a 2 hinged covers, one on each side, and a tray inside that holds pin, needles, thimbles, etc. It's right there. Oh my goodness. This was a free gift for 4 subscriptions. I don't know exactly what the subscriptions were, but I covered up a nasty looking crack with this chicken. I used that Japanese art form to gold seal the cracks. And on this end, to balance out the other, I added some beautiful little chickens. The whole box was dropped, but not unusable. In a way, I repaired it to make it work. Well, that's the end of this magazine flip through. Let's take a look at some popular trends. What was trending? Crochet was such a popular craft during the Depression. A novel was written in 1930 called The Crochet Woman. It was written by Ruth Manning Sanders. It's about a queen who uses crochet to cast evil enchantments. In December of 1937, in Los Angeles, was the world premiere of Snow White, which started a popular clothing trend. Look at this, crochet in Hollywood. How fascinating. Popular style of baubles and garments. The more complicated the item, the more it showed your talent and your skills. Or how wealthy you were if you were able to purchase these items. Here we see some spring hats from the 1930s. If you saved and gave the woman in your life something so pretty, it would give all of her outfits a new look for special occasions and gatherings. Some very popular pastimes were dances, such as dance marathons, or going to the new cinemas, or gathering at a friend's or neighbor's house to listen to radio programs. Many people suffering from the effects of the economic downturn looked for inexpensive ways to pass time and distract themselves from the challenging circumstances. One of the patterns that I'd love to share with you is a hat that I've crocheted from a 1930s pattern. I call this my going out hat. This style was reserved for very wealthy women in the 1930s. I found this pattern on a website called freevintagecrochet.com. The pattern called for a classic 10-weight crochet thread. I chose to use Hobby Lobby in the color copper. The pattern also said that we should use a Millward's steel hook number 4. I looked through some of my vintage crochet hooks hoping that I had a number 4. I did not. I had 2 other small sizes. But it got me curious. Why Millward? Why would they ask for such a specific hook? Well, back in 1676, Wayback Machine, when needle making was a cottage industry, James Millward was a needle maker that was held in very high regard. He worked on Fish Hill in the UK. I thought that was funny. In 1730, his then 40-year-old son, Simon Millward, founded the company, Henry Millward and Sons, naming his company after his infant son. From then on, the Millwards became well known as the makers of good quality needles. At one point, they were the largest manufacturer in the world. I just think it's absolutely incredible how they could make so many different products, also including fish hooks. It's difficult to imagine the hardships of the 1930s. I'd like to believe that yarn and a hook could help make the days not so heavy and grim. Maybe a distraction or a creative outlet, something to ease a troubled mind. The Crochet Guild of America has a lot of insight and was a wonderful resource for me in this segment. There weren't a lot of photographs of the 1930s, and there was such a huge divide between luxury items that people could afford and the people that had the skills and the time to sit and create these items. I highly encourage you to go over to the Crochet Guild of America. They're linked in the description box below. They have many patterns throughout history. They have tutorials. They even have online classes if you'd like to become a master in crochet. I've attached quite a few links, resources, and references in the description box below. Please give me a like, a subscribe. It all helps. Please, please, please leave a comment. On the last Friday of May, I'll have the next installment to Fiber Rewind, and we will be sharing the 1940s. I hope to see you then. Bye. Thank you.